3 craziest real ex-girlfriends and boyfriends from hell. True, scary stories. Welcome to our latest video, where we delve into the craziest, most terrifying real stories of ex-girlfriends and boyfriends from hell. These 3 true tales will make you think twice about who you date and what you're willing to put up with in a relationship. From stalking to false accusations to outright violence, these stories will shock you to your core. So buckle up and get ready for a wild ride as we explore the dark side of love. The twists and turns in this tale of betrayal and deceit will leave you on the edge of your seat. Let's dive into the first of the 3 craziest real ex-girlfriends and boyfriends from hell true scary stories. Number 1. Prepare to be horrified by the story of a heartless Dallas man who killed his own daughters in cold blood. John Battaglia was sentenced to death in 2002 for fatally shooting his 2 young daughters while their mother was forced to listen on the phone. But that's not even the most terrifying part of this story. Battaglia's lawyers had been arguing for years that he was mentally incompetent and therefore should not be executed. The case went back and forth in both state and federal courts, causing endless delays and frustration. However, on the day of his execution, Battaglia's team filed a last-minute appeal based on the claim that the state's previous 2 executions were botched using expired and relabeled drugs. It was a desperate, last-ditch effort to save his life, but it ultimately failed. The night of his execution was a chilling scene. Battaglia's ex-wife, Mary Jean, the mother of the slain children, watched from behind a glass pane as he was put to death. With no remorse or regret, he even greeted her with a sickening, "Hi, Mary Jean," before his execution. The details of Battaglia's crime are equally horrifying. He killed his daughters, Mary Faith and Liberty, during a dinner at his apartment in May 2001, just hours after discovering that there was a warrant out for his arrest. He got Mary Jean on the phone and had Mary Faith ask her why she wanted Battaglia to go to jail. The screams and gunshots that followed were heard by Mary Jean, who had to endure the agony of hearing her daughter's final words. "No, Daddy, please don't do it." When the police arrived, they found the bodies of the 2 young girls with multiple gunshot wounds. It took 4 officers to restrain Battaglia when he was later found at a tattoo parlor with freshly inked tattoos representing his daughters. And if that's not enough to make you shudder, Mary Jean testified in court that she found a message from Battaglia on the answering machine the day after the murders. "Good night, my little babies. You were very brave girls." This is a true story that will send chills down your spine and make you question the limits of human cruelty. The fact that a father could so callously murder his own children is beyond comprehension, and the pain and suffering inflicted upon Mary Jean and her family is unimaginable. It's a haunting reminder of the dark side of humanity and the depths of evil that some are capable of. Number 2. Jerry Ramrattan, a cunning ex-cop turned security personnel, met Simona Sumasar, a hard-working financial analyst and single mother, at a restaurant in Queens. Ramrattan charmed his way into Sumasar's life and moved into her home. The relationship blossomed until one day, Sumasar received a call from a woman claiming to be Ramrattan's wife and mother of his 3 children. Ramrattan initially denied it, but later admitted to being married and separated. The revelation shook Sumasar's trust, and she asked Ramrattan to move out of her home, but he refused. 2 weeks after the deadline, Sumasar confronted Ramrattan, and things escalated quickly. Ramrattan attacked Sumasar, bound her with duct tape, and raped her in her own home. He apologized and begged her not to report it before leaving. Sumasar immediately called 911 after he left, leading to Ramrattan's arrest on rape charges. As the legal case against Ramrattan progressed, he sought revenge by framing Sumasar for a series of armed robberies, challenging her credibility in the rape case and landing her behind bars as her own trial loomed. Ramrattan took the concept of revenge to a whole new level, bringing false charges against her in a clever and masterful way that shocked the prosecutors. He meticulously orchestrated the plan and managed to convince several people to report being robbed at gunpoint by a male and female posing as police officers. For months, authorities struggled to unravel the bizarre plot, which almost cost Samassar years of her life. She was a 34-year-old immigrant from Guyana, and the false charges left her stranded in jail, away from her 12-year-old daughter. The situation turned even more terrifying when plainclothes police detectives handcuffed Samassar, took her to Nassau County Police Precinct in Long Island, and charged her with armed robbery, possession of a firearm, and impersonating a police officer. All three victims gave similar details, including a description of the female suspect as Indian-looking, and the same vehicle description of a gray Jeep Cherokee. The final victim, Luz Johnson, provided the crucial piece of evidence, the vehicle's license plate number. Authorities soon tracked the vehicle to Samassar's house, and all three victims identified her from a photo lineup. The stunned financial analyst was unable to post her $1 million bail and remained behind bars, fighting for her innocence. After her arrest, the situation went from bad to worse. She was denied bail and spent several months behind bars, separated from her young daughter. The false charges against her had completely upended her life, leaving her jobless, without access to her bank accounts, and with a tarnished reputation in her community. To make matters even more frustrating, Samassar was not provided with any information about the charges against her. She had no idea why she was being accused of such heinous crimes and was left in the dark for months. It took the authorities a while to connect the dots and realize that Ramrattan had masterminded the whole scheme. Finally, justice prevailed, and Ramrattan was convicted of rape, robbery, and conspiracy charges and sentenced to life in prison. Samassar was finally exonerated and released from prison after months of trauma and turmoil. Ramrattan's cruel and heinous acts shook the world and proved that the face of evil can sometimes appear charming and confident. Number 3. His heart sank as the police told him that he was being arrested for stalking and threatening to kill his ex-girlfriend, Stephani Lawson. He had no idea what they were talking about. How could he be accused of something he didn't do? The shock was just the beginning. His bail was raised to $200,000, an amount he couldn't afford. His grandparents had to put up their home as collateral. The fear he felt as he realized he might not be able to get out of jail was overwhelming. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months as he waited for his day in court. His grandparents were his only visitors, and they told him how proud they were of him for being strong and standing up for himself. But as the trial approached, the fear of the unknown began to eat away at him. And then, the unthinkable happened. The messages that he was accused of sending his ex-girlfriend came to light. One of them claimed that his friend had raped her daughter. Tyler was horrified. He could never imagine sending such a horrific message to anyone, let alone someone he once loved. But as the investigation unfolded, it became clear that Tyler wasn't the one sending those messages. His ex-girlfriend, Stephani Lawson, had created a fake Facebook account in his name, and she had been sending those messages to herself. The shock of the revelation hit Tyler like a ton of bricks. He had lost everything because of her lies. He felt violated and betrayed. But the worst part was knowing that she had almost succeeded in ruining his life. He could have ended up in prison for something he didn't do. The court case finally came to an end, and Stephani Lawson was sentenced to 1 year in jail for her crimes. But Tyler's life would never be the same. His grandparents had lost their home, and his grandmother had passed away before she could see him exonerated. Tyler moved to Texas with his grandfather, hoping to start over, but the memories of what had happened in Orange County would haunt him forever. He couldn't trust anyone anymore. He couldn't love anyone anymore. He was broken beyond repair. The story of Tyler Parker Vest is a cautionary tale of the dangers of false accusations and the devastation they can cause. It's a story that reminds us that justice is not always easy to come by, and that sometimes the innocent are the ones who suffer the most. And there you have it, folks. These stories serve as a reminder that sometimes love can turn into an obsession, and it's essential to keep yourself safe and aware of any warning signs in your relationships. Have you ever had an ex that made your life a living nightmare? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more true scary stories. Thanks for watching.